Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? I am your host, Peter Brown. Welcome to FMTV Weekly, where we talk about Inter Miami every single Sunday. And this week, like we called it, it has been an emotional roller coaster with this team, especially during home games. So we've got lots to talk about. But as always, I don't do this by myself. So welcome in everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed.
How's it going, boys and girls? Here we are again. Emotional game. The home games are always intense, Peter Brown.
Especially lately. The last couple home games. I think I said the last home game was like the most exciting game of the year, and it was a tie. And this one wasn't maybe quite to that level because I don't think we played as good, but an exciting game. So lots to talk about there. Lots of fun to talk about. Get your guys' thoughts that maybe that went to the game, and tell us what you thought as far as that defense. There's a lot to talk about right there.
There is tons to talk about, but before we do that, Peter Brown, what do we usually do?
We give a big thank you to our sponsor, and that is Caneswear. Everybody needs to go to Caneswear. If you haven't been to Caneswear, what are you waiting for? Caneswear is the best place in town to get all your Inter Miami gear. Best prices in town. They cannot be beat as far as their prices are concerned. So that's where you should be going. So if Caneswear is too far, which is right off of 595 in University, if it's too far, then just go to caneswear.com and mention FMTV. You'll get 10% off, and any orders over $99 ship for free. So let's say hi to some people in the chat.
Let's do it, guys. Be sure to say hello on the chat. Earlier today, I saw there was somebody. I should have saved the messages they left Peter Brown, but unfortunately I didn't. Next time I'll do that. But he already fell off. Want to say hello to B King. I don't know if you see anybody yet.
Peter? Yeah, I see some that have dropped down a little bit, but I'll move.
And how you doing, B King? Didn't see you at the game this time. Hopefully you made it out there. We also have Jazz Fusion.
All right. I don't see him on the list. Just keep going. Keep going.
And
I'll pop him up when
I
see him.
Carter is also with us. How you doing, Carter?
And we will definitely talk about Ryan Saylor soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Chris Menendez is also here. How you doing, Chris? Thanks for supporting us. I don't know if you got anything else on the chat, Peter Brown. I do want to mention we met Jet Pancake at the stadium. Yeah. That was pretty cool. And we actually we were recording a video, so we weren't able to really say hello to him like we would have wanted to.
But he looked like he didn't want to interrupt too much. But interrupt. It's no problem. Interrupt. Even if we're shooting something, which we were, interrupt, because we'll just do take two. And we definitely want to say hi to you. And yeah, it was cool to put a face to the name. Love that name, Jet Pancake. What I didn't get a chance to ask is why the nickname Jet Pancake. But that is definitely a good question. But as far as people in the chat, there was also Jose Velasquez.
Cool.
Esteban Dido saying fire. Phil Neville, my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Everybody's favorite photographer, Chris Arjun. One World, One Gold's going to get herself some Papa John's pizza.
Nice.
Bruno is in the chat. We'll talk a little bit about our experience up in the North Stand. I might have realized that I'm a big baby.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Judge Dredd, the law had vertigo after that match. Yes, sir. Richard Greenberg is also in here from Toronto. And that's it for right now.
Yeah, I think that's it for now. Be sure to leave us your comments in the chat room, guys, and let us know what you guys want to talk about. Let's start off with first thing we did was, of course, we did another video that should be out sometime this week, whenever Peter can get around to it, because Peter's been recording this stuff lately. It's kind of easier for him to do it. So,
hang on. Why is it easier for me? It's easier for me
You work from home.
Hang on. It's easier for you that I do it.
That's true, but you also work from home, so you got more time to do it.
Oh, so somebody works from home means they don't actually work. Is that what it sounds like?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Because just because I'm home, the people, they say that people that work from home tend to work more because they don't disconnect.
That could be true. You could be on your phone,
Not on my phone. I mean, my office. My office is in my house. My office is in my house.
Which happens to be where you're sitting right now.
This is the office.
So, that's his office too. So,
but anyways, yes, I think maybe we'll get that video up Wednesday or Thursday just to space things out. It's not a video that is time sensitive, right? It's a we talked about forever doing some like food review videos. So we did our first one. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if Ed and I know how to review food, but
we're definitely not food connoisseurs. But it's all about.
But we're doing it. But we're doing it. And what I noticed we need to do better at is describing the flavors instead of just going, yeah, it's good. That's something.
Yeah, we got to start doing. Oh, it's a little tangy. Oh, it's a little sweet. It needs a little paprika.
Right.
I can taste the. I don't know.
But
a chode or something.
But then again, we did start off. Our first food review was your most generic, basic of all stadium food. So that's where we're going to start because we figured let's start it at the kind of the food booth.
Basic.
The food booth that is the most basic, that may actually get the most attention, right? Because chicken fingers and stuff like that, hot dogs, which we didn't try everything in there, but we tried most of it. So you'll see on the video. It should be fun. Here, gotta go full Gordon Ramsay, Peter. Yeah, I think we'll work up to that. We'll work up to that as we
eventually,
because we want to hit all the different food booths there, and then also maybe start doing some of the food trucks that are there. So just some videos that are like a little bit different than what we do, but it's still stadium, it's still soccer, it's still the environment, and then we have talked about this. And one thing I've learned, Ed, is we shouldn't necessarily use the show to do our show planning because then we talk about something and then don't do it. But I'm going to say it again, just because maybe it'll make us do it. Is we do need to go visit the supporters groups and do a food like fight. Who's got the best? We talked about doing that. We got to do that.
The tailgates. We'll get to that.
Yes. It may not be.
I don't think
it may not be this year. It may be.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That could be something we kick off next season with. How about that?
Sounds like a plan. But we'll definitely try to finish up on the supporters. I'm sorry, on the different food trucks and stuff like that. So, those are coming up. Peter, let's start off. We took a little visit to the supporter section. If you guys didn't know, we're some of the OGs of the supporters group because we're kind of like the ones that kind of pushed for Inter Miami to exist.
Right.
And Peter Brown, first time I think this year. Put his foot in the supporters area. How did that feel?
I've been over in the supporters area once before, way before the game started, and there was nobody there. And just to kind of see the view, that was it. So yes, this was the first time that I stepped in the supporters section when it was full, and it was cool. But yeah, I don't know. That time I think of the sitting in the supporter section is past me, and I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Thank you for all of you supporters, Southern Legion, Vice City, Siege. Thank you for all that you do, but I don't want to necessarily do it anymore. So I'm happy that you guys are doing it.
The real reason why Peter ran scrambling from there was because it started to rain. And, I think he would have hung out for a little bit longer, but he's like, oh, I'm getting wet.
It's
my jersey. I just bought my jersey. And so he took off. And when Julio and I
turned around, I was gone.
He was gone. I was like, man, he must have really needed to go to the restroom or something.
That was part of it. But I've also gotten to that point where I'm like, I don't want to miss the game. And so it's like, I want to be in my seats when the game starts. And I'm like, had we gone over to this, had the supporters been in their section, say 15 minutes, 20 minutes before the game, and we were over there 15 to 20 minutes before the game, I'd be cool. This was like a minute before the game, and I'm like, I got to get to my seats. Oh no, it's raining. I'm getting wet, and I don't have my raincoat, and it's and I got to go to the bathroom, and
everything just added up. Everything added up, and
I had to
Peter
go.
Brown ran away like a little girl.
But we were talking that we need to throw caution to the wind and go spend maybe the last game of the year with the supporters, celebrate with them for the entire game, and and do that. In which case, I will be a little more prepared in that. Look, I would wear one of my cheaper Inter Miami T-shirts, so that if for whatever reason it gets damaged, it's not like a $150 game day jersey, right? It's just a $10 T-shirt or something like that.
You're afraid of the beer.
Beer won't stain a shirt so much as the I've seen people coming out of the supporter sections after the flares and stuff like that, and I've seen people like having like messed up their white shirts because of the pink stuff, and right. I don't want that to happen. With one of my, so I may be a bit of a prima donna at this age, but that's okay.
Justifiably so, because you love your Inter Miami jerseys and you don't want them to be all messed up.
Hey,
which
they cost
happened
money.
To this. I'm wearing my training shirt, my pink training shirt, and it's already a little stained.
See, none of mine.
I washed it. Yeah, and like the game day. I mean the team playing jersey that we have.
Yeah.
I don't want to probably wear that in the supporter section. I think. And
I got to be honest with you, this is how I'm dressed for the show. Is how I was dressed for all day. So I was driving around town today doing some entertaining, some family, and I ended up at a restaurant. It's a restaurant in Boca called Lazy Dog, and it's a chain restaurant, but it's the only one down here that I'm aware of. And I was eating really bad food, but I was eating like a French dip, but it was a pot roast French dip with a white shirt. Very concerned, Ed, that I didn't want to be like you and have a stain all over my shirt. So I was very much hovering over my plate and probably not eating with the best manners, but I did not care. I did not want to get that on my shirt.
Oh yeah, I would have put a bib on myself, to protect it,
right?
Just a man bib or whatever they're called. But and so that was Peter Brown's 5 minutes? Maybe not even that in the supporter section.
It was more than 5 minutes because you guys wouldn't stop talking to JC, and I'm just kind of like, man, guys, come on, stop talking. And eventually, I was just like, see ya.
I know, I saw it. But thanks to everybody that said hello. I know a lot of people were yelling Uncle Ed and stuff because I wore the jersey that's got my name in the back, and we appreciate that.
That's the best part about going to the supporter sections, the great people over there. It's fun to saying hi to everybody. And so, yeah. And I think, what more my speed, though, Ed, is going to the pregame, like, tailgates and saying hi to everybody and hanging out with them because it's well before the game. So,
right. After the game.
Or after, right? And so there's no more time constraints, not so much.
Right. So that was Peter Brown's, experience with the supporters so far this year. But all right, Peter, what people want to talk about, that game was, it was a roller coaster. It seemed for a little bit that, I think we deserved to win. We should have had the 3 points. It was just, I think it was unfortunate the way that things turned out. Higuain left, I think maybe a little bit too early. The guy was on fire, and that was one of the things that we were talking about. The guy's on fire. Why did the coach take him out? He could have probably scored more.
And that's where when people like Esteban says to fire Neville, that's where you do have to question, his coaching tactics at times. He said in the post game that he figured he would only play about 60-something minutes, and he definitely wanted to get Campana in because Campana was ready. And so it had nothing to do with how well anybody was playing. It was, I have a schedule, I'm going to stick to it, which is not great, right? You want to go with the flow of the game. You want your coach to be able to make decisions based on the flow, not just based on a timetable. So,
Right.
But Higuain. The funny thing is, Ed, and we could talk about this. The more Higuain scored, the more I complained about him. The more he scored.
You started complaining about him immediately.
Okay,
and
fine.
the more you complained, the more you complained, he got better, and he started scoring, and you kept on complaining, and he scored again, and he complained again, and he scored again. So of course now I'm telling, because that's actually a Photoshop right there.
Whoa! How do you know that's my shirt, Ed? I love Higuain. Look at that. I've got an Higuain shirt. You can't say that's Photoshop. That looks real.
It does totally look real, but Peter Brown, it ain't. And we were telling him, dude, if he scores 3, I was telling him, if he scores 3, you got to put Higuain in the back of your shirt. And he couldn't do it. He said he wouldn't. But I think if you guys pressure him to do it, if you guys put enough messages in the chat or in the comments, Peter Brown needs to get the Higuain number 10 in the back. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, during when you guys were pressuring me about it, I did send a message to my wife who, I don't like Higuain, right? But she dislikes him more. And I said, the guys are pressuring me to get Higuain on the back of my shirt because he's doing so well. And she said, no.
She does not like Higuain, even though he scored 3 goals. But I mean, the thing is, Higuain, he can score. He could be slow. He could not defend. He's lacking in so many departments. But the guy can score, and nobody could take that away from him. You give him that opportunity in front of that goal, or on the side of the goal, or a free kick, and the guy's going to score goals. Talk about scoring goals, Peter. I think you got one of those videos, don't you?
Yes, I do. So yeah, there you go. That was his penalty kick there, and pointing to the back of his shirt. So that was where the whole pointing came from. Because if you guys notice, every time Higuain scores, he never points to the crest. He's never like cheering on anybody. He points to the back of his jersey, like it's me. All right, like I've heard all you guys complaining about me, but look who scored. It's me. It's all about me, and I don't like that. I do. So not like
I was doing that to tell Peter, because I think we had already talked about him putting the name in the back. So I was put that name in the back. That's what I was saying right there. And he recorded this. I think that's hilarious.
Chris Menendez saying, I have Higuain's jersey from last year. This year I had to get my boy Campana, which is what I'm leaning on. So I got that big blank space. Jonathan Carranza, our old friend Jonathan Carranza, back. Higuain is the GOAT. He's looking like he's worth his paycheck. And he continues to say he would love an Higuain jersey. Well, you could buy one. I think they got plenty of them. But to say, first off, I think it's funny to say he's the GOAT, but everybody can have their opinion. Saying that he's looking like he's worth his paycheck. Yes, this is what we expected all along. And I think someone else in here said his work rate was good. Right. This is what we expected all along. So how much is curious what your thoughts are, and everybody in the chat is, how much is Pozuelo effect in all this? Like, is he making a difference so that it's allowing Higuain to score more, or is it just pure coincidence that he's scoring more since Pozuelo has been with the team? because the last 2 home games. Well, I think he scored 4 goals in the last 3 games, 3 home games or 3 games, something like that.
He's got 7 goals so far this year. And Campana's got 8. There we go. Look at that. Campana's got
8 goals, 2 assists. Higuain looks like he's got 7 goals, 1 assist.
But 3 of them were penalties. So that says a lot right there. 3 penalties out of those 7 goals. So, just something for you to go,
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit cheating. But regardless of him cheating a little bit throughout the season, the last several games, he has been on fire. And as much as I say he should not start, he did make an argument. Like, I think he's been better coming off the bench. But he played really good in this game. And, I mean, we should have won that game. And a lot of the credit would go to Higuain. But I'm just curious, like, do you think Pozuelo's had an impact on on making, Higuain more of a threat?
I think he's definitely. I think so. He's definitely, at least in the home games, because some of the away games he's disappeared in at least one of them. Yeah, and that's something like what One World was saying. He put a Valderrama-like pass. We kind of were mentioning that he's kind of like doing the Valderrama thing of, not moving that much or whatever. But Pozuelo, actually, I thought he's helped us gain more possession of the ball, which is important.
And that's what kind of I think what I mean is that, and what Kata is saying here, 80%. He reads the game like Higuain. By the way, Gonzalo isn't dropping back as much either. Right. So because Gonzalo is doesn't feel like he has to drop back as much. And that's what I'm saying. Is it because Pozuelo's in there and he's got more of a sense of security that, Pozuelo can do the job? Now, there were a couple times in the game where I noticed he did drop back and he was kind of in Pozuelo's way. Like, come on, one of us can play this position, but we can't both. And then there was one particular time he did drop back and he kind of tried to play the 10 and he just lousy pass. I mean, he gave the ball away, basically. It was a lousy pass. And it's like, get back up top. Get back up top.
Just stay up there.
Let Pozuelo do it. You stay up there where you're better.
And I'm starting to think, we talk about how the defense was bad. They weren't concentrated. Does it also play that, Higuain doesn't track back? We're losing a player there. He doesn't track back to defend. So does that affect the defenders a little bit as well? Because Campana, he'll run back.
Yeah.
He'll defend.
Well, and Pozuelo doesn't really track back either. And that was a big problem. We all got to complain about our defense. And we're going to get to our voicemails in just a second. So we got some in. We got a couple. If you haven't left a voicemail, please do so. We'll get to them in just a minute. I know One World, One Goal left us a voicemail during the game. So I'm not sure what she was. Obviously, she was excited about what she was seeing and wanted to tell us. So her comment, I'm sure, will be game related. So we want to get to that soon. But we're all, I think, easy to complain about the defense as a whole. And the coach, actually, I've never seen him in his post-game conference. He said, look, I always try to be positive, but I can't this week. I can't be positive. I have to flip the other side. He said the defense was so bad that he wished he could go in there and play and defend some of the crosses. He specifically wanted to defend the crosses, so he obviously felt like that was a weakness. But what I thought was a big part, especially that that goal that Ryan Saylor was kind of at fault for, they were all pushed up so far. They're like high pressing, and Saylor's so slow to get back. And there was a comment earlier, and look for it, where about Saylor. Somebody was commenting that they got to get rid of Saylor and put in Mabika. Mabika's a little slow too. These big guys sometimes are a little slow off the block.
They're good in the air, but they're slow going back. I think it was McVeigh that got caught.
He did as well, though. Saylor should not start. We definitely got to get rid of him and Mabika, in my opinion. Get a U22 defender or let Gibbs go and get another left back. moved McVay to center back with Lowe. So I wouldn't go so far to say get rid of Sailor. I mean, for one, he's cheap and he is good, and I think he's good in the air. He's a strong defender, but he is slow. Mabika is slow. So what were you starting to say, Ed?
I lost my train of thought, Peter Brown. I'm a little bit old, so those things happen.
But several players got caught. Yes, McVay got caught on one.
Oh,
There's
there
4
we go.
goals, man. I mean,
McVay. Yeah, he ran towards the middle instead of towards the player. That led to one of the goals.
Another goal. Like, I think if I remember correctly, Yedlin was beat, and then the guy went from Yedlin through Mata. He beat 2 defenders basically and scored. So, the entire defense was a mess. But at the same time, you're watching the game, and through a good portion of the game, the defense looked good. Lowe, I think, reads the game really, really well, and he intercepts a lot. But they just seem to fall asleep, lack of concentration, get caught up, and then they can't get back. Like, it's bad.
Yeah. The counterattacks are what hurt us. I think out of the 4 goals, 3 of them were counterattacks. So,
they were counterattacking us for sure.
That's our kryptonite. And yeah, Yedlin. Cod is talking about Yedlin, but Yedlin I thought had a pretty strong game, offensively at least.
He was fast.
Yeah, he was always up there quick. But yeah, defensively, we were just terrible in the back. And that was a game we should have won, and it really hurts to see a game like that, turn out the way it did.
Bruno's not a fan of Lowe. He thinks he messed up on most of the goals. I like Lowe. We'll disagree there. I am a fan of Lowe's. I just watching him, I see him breaking so many plays up.
Right.
I mean, maybe he needs a better middle defender next to him. Like we said, maybe it's not Sailor. Maybe it should be McVay with him in the middle, like somebody else mentioned. Tank 721 Bruno says Yedlin can't cover all his mistakes when he'd get out of position. Sailor looked out of it too. Well, that is one point. Yedlin was getting into the attack so much, and he's fast as hell. I was talking to somebody recently, and they were saying how Yedlin's lost a step. I don't see it. As far as speed, dude's fast, and he's
still good.
He's winning a lot of foot races, but to Bruno's point, he does push up, and then we're exposed at the back for a counterattack or something like that, and then you got to hope that Sailor can get there. And like I said, he's just a little slow, but
yeah. So it's kind of we're missing, I think, something in the back, man. We need a player. I think they were concentrating too much on I guess our forwards. We're not. Well, our depth isn't that great, I think.
Well, yeah, I agree. And focusing on the forwards, I understood why they do it, because remember, up until recently, we weren't scoring. But now the last 2 home games, I think we scored 7 goals in the last 2 home games.
Yeah.
So that when you score 7 goals in 2 games, you should win those games. So now it seems like, okay, we've corrected one area, and where defense looked okay at times, we're definitely not now. We're exposed, and so now it's time to turn their attention to the defense. But we're close to the end of the season. They're not going to make any changes now to the defense. It's can they bring in, like somebody mentioned, a U22 initiative player? That wouldn't be a bad idea. Get somebody young, but up and coming. But of course, right. Young means potentially could make mistakes, whatever. One World, One Goal is saying Breck Shea should come back. He's been training. He just started training again.
Breck Shea, I don't know, Peter. It looks a little, like you said, the season's almost over. We would have had those 3 points. We would have been in 7th place. Now we're hurting. We're way back. I haven't seen which position we fell back to, but I don't know if we remained in 10th place or something. But we would have been in 7th place. We would have been there at the edge of the playoff, scene. We would have been going into these 2 away games a little more chilled out. But look, Montreal's coming up.
So yeah,
San Jose.
we're still in 11th place. I think is where we were at the beginning of the weekend, and we're still there. So no harm, no foul, I guess, but we didn't move up either. So, and as far as upcoming games, so we're off to San Jose. Then we're bringing in Montreal. We're going to Montreal, and then we have New York here and Toronto here. So, it's a busy. None of those are easy games. San Jose obviously maybe the easiest game, but this team just in general does not travel well. So there's that.
Montreal's going to be tough because
Montreal's going to be hard. I was watching. I didn't finish it, but I was watching Montreal New York game. I didn't finish the game, but I was watching it before I had company come over today, and they looked solid. I mean, I watched the first half, and they held off New York. It was a tie game. They both looked dangerous at times, so it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it's going to be. San Jose, I think, is our opportunity to get some points. Hopefully, we can get 3 points out of the 6. So that we won't lose pace with the playoff hopes that we have. Then we got to come back, man, and those 2 games that we have at home, we need to win those. Those are must-win games because, like you said, the season's just about over, and we need to get as many points as we can.
Yeah, we don't have many games left. We don't have many home games left. We need to have some celebrating in that stadium. So speaking of celebrating in that stadium, and somebody said something about people are listening to us, watching us, maybe because things we talk about seem to happen. To that topic, celebrating in the stands. One thing we brought to, I think last week or the week before, we brought this up, and I harped on it a little bit. But that was piping in the music that the supporters clubs create. So the supporters clubs are banging their drums, singing their songs, and then the team was piping that throughout the stadium. So it makes the stadium have more atmosphere. It sounds bigger and all that. And we, from our seats on the east, I never really noticed it much because I think we're a little bit closer to the supporters. I feel like we're hearing the real thing. But then every once in a while, when we sit with our friend Patrick in those upgraded seats that are a little bit more to the south, we can hear the supporters as if they're sitting right behind us. It's clear as day that they're piping in the music. Right. So we got a report from our friend Patrick, who was over in his seats, saying there was no, they were not playing the supporters through the speakers in the last game. So it made us wonder: was the team listening? Was the team watching? Were they paying attention to what we were saying here?
I think they're listening, and but I didn't complain when we started mentioning about it. I think it it added to the ambiance. Yeah, I was totally okay with it. I think you were the only one that was complaining because you always complain. When it rains, you complain. When food, you complain. And you'll see about the food part. During the week. I like Ed weather. Sometimes, I just like to take the opposite side. I just, sometimes that's Ruby. What it is. I just saw Ruby's comment.
Ruby's in there saying hi to everybody. It's good to see her as well. So they were definitely not playing it, and so maybe they're listening. Anyways, hey, why don't we let's listen to a couple of voicemails. It's time for your voicemails.
Hello.
Woohoo! It's Victoria. Can you believe this game? I'm dying to know what Mrs. Peter thinks. Ooh. Oh, the goal came back. Bomber, man. That beautiful back heel. I'm calling you live from the game. Not the game, but the TV. Live from the TV. Here's Ray Hudson. Who doesn't love Ray Hudson? Jay Cordero. Anyway, they're looking good. Playing beautiful. Okay, love you guys. Love the show. Bye.
So it would have been interesting had my wife come to the game. This was a game that she did not go to, but she goes to a good portion of the games. And, I did spend, I'd say a good, 80% of the game complaining about Higuain. And she would have spent the 100% of the game complaining about
the whole game.
Yeah, right.
The whole game.
The whole game.
Yeah. I kind of wish she would have gone to see, her
right.
reaction with the 3 goals, but unfortunately she didn't. She didn't get. But I thought it was funny when you texted her about getting the shirt name that she immediately replied, "Nope, don't do it, don't do it." So.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So I think we can all agree that the defense needs some work. But let's talk about, Peter. How the coach Neville took out Higuain. I think Higuain, even in the press conference, he said he could have played. He's in form. He said he could have played the remainder, but he said it's the coach's call, so he respects that. But obviously, he said he could have played the rest of the game. I agree. He was on fire. A player that's on fire like that, you don't take him out till maybe 2 minutes before the game's over, just so people can give him a standing ovation. But hi Mili, how you doing? People from the Southern Legion there saying hello to us. So yeah, man. What's your take, Peter, on that? Should he have left him in? Was that a mistake? I think maybe he pulled all these players out a little bit too quick.
Yeah, he did. And I don't know. My daughter's sticking her head in the room and messing me up. I don't know why she's doing it, but she is. Yeah. So I think you don't take somebody out when they're hot, and he was hot. He did not look super tired. Was he walking around the field a little bit? Yeah, but he always does. And he looked like he was riding the high. Like, he knew he was on fire, and it energized him. So, yes, I would have left him in. If you want to give Campana minutes, look, you've put strikers on the wing before. Put Campana in for Indiana Vassilev, which eventually they put in Coco for Indiana Vassilev. But you could have put Campana in there. Or whatever side, either side, whichever one he's best at. I don't know. But, because like with Coco said in his interview, welcoming press conference that, his preferred position is actually goal scorer. It's the striker. But they're putting him out wide because that's where the coach wants him to play. So you could have done the same thing with Campana. You can give him minutes, but in a slightly different position, or put two up top. What the hell? Let's do that.
Right.
Why can't we do that?
That's what I would have thought.
Why can't we do that? So, I was just figuring a way to put Campana within the system that Neville wants to play. But
Campana's going to go back and defend anyway, so it doesn't matter if Higuain would stay up.
Exactly. So you're actually picking up a defender in that case.
Exactly. So I think that's he should have done it for Indy. It wasn't Indy's game. He was just wasn't his thing. I got to mention Taylor. That guy's been another guy that's been on fire. He can dribble like the best of them. I'm glad that he's playing like that. Very aggressive. Definitely wants to score, or at least get the ball as far down as he can. And for the most part, he did well. I think he only lost the ball once. Trying to go in there, and I think that's awesome. But Peter, I got to mention somebody else. The ref, dude.
she was in the way a lot.
She was in the way so much, man. She was like bad calls. She got in the way of a couple of plays where she was just like as if she was one of the players, going forward, trying to attack and asking people to pass the ball to her. That's how far up she was,
Yeah, she was in the way a lot, but you get used to bad refs, but you're used to refs making bad calls, but in the way constantly. It was funny. Speaking of bad refs, so I was watching one of the press conferences earlier in the week, and Neville made a comment that I thought was interesting. Is that he feels that the team doesn't always handle these bad calls well. Like they get all worked up, they yell at the ref, they get an unnecessary yellow card, what have you. So they actually did a scrimmage during the week where he and Jason Christ, assistant coach, acted like a referees, and they purposely were making horrible calls to just get to piss off the players, and so to kind of get the players used to it, to get them to learn how to control their emotions. I just thought that was a funny, interesting tactic It's like, okay, guys, we're going to throw every bad call we can think of at you. Don't get mad at us. Be professional.
Well, I imagine they probably didn't say anything, and probably went back later and told them, we did that on purpose. That's something I would have done. I wouldn't have said nothing. I just would have kept on, messing with them, and to see the reaction, and then later tell them, all right, guys, it was done on purpose. You guys need to chill.
Yeah. One World, One Goal is asking if that back heel pass to what would have been Pozuelo's first goal, was that offsides or what? Why they called it back?
Good question, because I asked the same thing. Nobody could tell me what exactly happened.
Yeah, and I didn't see the replay, so I'm not 100% sure. But the only thing they could have called it was offside.
Right.
So let's go to another voicemail, Ed.
Do it.
And then there's some stadium questions, so maybe we can start talking about that.
Good evening, everybody. It's your favorite uncle, Uncle Ned, and you know what your man Uncle Ned says. Fam, fam, fam. Damn. A damn. I gotta say this, man. This is probably one of the most topsy-turvy, roller coasterish games that I've ever seen for Inter Miami. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to my two guys, man. My main man downtown, Peter Brown, and my best bud, Uncle Ed. Good evening, gentlemen.
Very formal.
Yeah, this game was up and down, man. I don't know whether we should be celebrating Higuain and his prowess out there on the pitch tonight, or should we be ripping apart the defense for Inter Miami? And I mean that, because giving up 4 goals sucks. As a matter of fact, it's probably the most goals we've given up since that game against Austin FC. Really, really bad. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off about that, man. Peter Brown, Uncle Ed, you guys are big-time nerds. I just happen to be your friend who's not a nerd. Would you call this, as far as Higuain strikes back, or return of the Higuain? That's something to chew on for you geeks and nerds out there. I'm personally going to say, because Higuain is my personal bad guy, so I'm going to personally say the Higuain strikes back. Okay, we've given him his eulogy. We've buried Higuain, and Higuain is bust through the damn grave and said, no, I ain't dead yet, MFers. So he's got good ball service tonight from Pozuelo, but I don't know. I guess Higuain is telling us to shut the F up. But regardless, he played pretty well tonight, and I can't. Although I love, beating up on him, I can't front. I mean, Higuain has played pretty good tonight. The next thing you know, if he keeps it up, you're going to start hearing, well, should we start Higuain or should we start Leo Campana? And you know that's coming up. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, should we start Marsman, or should we start keep on going with the young buck, Drake Callender? So
I got cut off again.
And that never happens, Uncle Ned.
Oh, never. So that is a conversation. Good place to end, though, because we were talking about this, because I had a feeling this game we could have seen Marsman start, because in the press conference I keep referring to the day or two before the game, he talked about Marsman, and he talked about him that he's ready and he's playing well. And I don't remember the exact words that he said, but the general feeling that Phil threw out there was that it was definitely up for grabs, and that, Callender is still learning. And so it felt like we could see Marsman start. And after this I would not be surprised to see Marsman start in San Jose. I
totally agree.
We
talked about it.
I actually would be surprised if he doesn't start.
I have to agree. It's something we talked about after the game. It was, 4 goals were scored on him. I think it's time to bring in Marsman. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's the San Jose game. We will see Marsman in the goalie position, and hopefully he's back. I remember what game it was, but they put him on for a little bit, and he looked a little bit rusty. So, let's see. I think Marsman's probably coming back for the San Jose game.
Yeah, and Kato was saying, I don't know why people are ready to move on from Calendar. He's been good. Yeah, I would agree. And I'm not even saying that I want Calendar to sit. I just think that's where the coach's mind is at. I think he's ready for Calendar to sit. And Marsman did get some good practice in the Barcelona game. He got some good practice in that game. I mean, he was jumping around a lot because he was getting shot at, and several did go in. But it's practice. It was live, good practice. And I agree with Bruno is that that game wasn't fair to him. But and that's the one thing is that while Calendar's really is a good shot stopper and he's getting better with his feet, and I think you mentioned this a little bit, Ed, is that how good is his communication with the defense? And so is some of these defensive blunders on him for not organizing his defense properly? Is he communicating to the defense as well as, say, Marsman might, who's got just more experience?
Right. And that could be something.
So I'm not sure. But, again, I would not be surprised to see Marsman in the next game. But at the end of the day, I mean, if Calendar's ego or if he's sitting him down, obviously it could do one of two things. It could crush him and deflate him and make him worse off, right? But it also could make him a stronger-minded player, knowing that he's got to fight his way back up, and you kind of see where his mind is at, if he's soft or if he's strong mentally.
Yeah, I'd say, try out Marsman against San Jose because, San Jose seems to be the weaker of the teams that we're going to play against, so he can get back into form. And then, maybe put, Calendar against Montreal since he's been a little bit more, active. Depends on the coach. See what, is best for him. I'm worried about what his solution is for our defense.
Right.
Is Saylor going to stay there? Is he going to put Mabika in? What happened to Gibbs? Is Gibbs still available? Why isn't he playing him? He's a veteran. I thought he plays pretty decently, but I don't know. That's up to the coach.
Agreed, and we'll see. Hey, let's move on to Lazaro. Has been asking a lot about the stadium, so let's maybe finish the last few minutes of the show talking about the stadium. Hopefully, you're able to see this image that I just put up.
We were talking about that during the game,
mm-hmm.
Peter. That there was a meeting this week, right? This week that passed.
Yeah, there was a vote. So there was hang on, I'm itchy. There was some commissioner votes where they're voting on the rezoning, and so they approved up to a point. They have to go through one more line of votes that are going to be in September, and what I read about was that the commissioners, everything looks pretty good, but there's a couple things that they wanted to see more detail on. So they keep talking about they're expected to make some sort of community programs, and so far the team has said we're going to create some community programs, and that's it. So the commissioners are like, what are the programs? I want details. You're being very vague. Give us the details. So Inter Miami now has to come up with actual details and present them. So that was one sticking point they wanted to see more information on. And then the other sticking point I know for one commissioner in particular, and she wants, and if I read this correctly, she wants of all, like, say, the tenants, shop owners, and whatever on the property to have 10% of them to be at least 10% minority owners, and that also includes the construction staff and all that kind of thing. And so there has not been a commitment yet, I think, on that. She wanted more details on that, or more promises, or something in writing that you know. And I was telling you this, and maybe I get canceled for this. I don't know. Is that I don't know if that's fair to say. I think it's fair to say of the staff, of the people working there, that at least 10% should be minority. Heck, in Miami, I think your construction crew is going to be the majority.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
You know, minority because you know a lot of it's going to be Latinos, and they're considered a minority, but in Miami they're the majority. But but technically they're considered a minority. So that'll be the case. Where the only issue I have is more so in, like, say, the shop owners, to say that 10% of the shops have to be minority owned, and I'm like, well, I imagine Inter Miami has a certain, like, okay, they've got a storefront or they got a hotel that they want to put here. They want a certain type of storefront. They want a bar maybe. And right. and you know they're going to charge a lot of rent in this space. And what if there's just isn't a minority owned bar, for example, that's willing to pay that? Do they then have to lower their rates because you know there's going to be high rent? This is like downtown Miami, a premier spot. Man, it's going to cost a lot for these people to own a store on Miami Freedom Park. It's going to be expensive real estate. So that'd be my own.
I mean, 10% I think is a low percentage. I think it'll be met.
Yeah, it's probably easy to do. I don't know. I that just stuck with me is that, you know, what if, you know, you're targeting certain not even demographics, but you're targeting certain businesses that you want to fill in certain holes, and what if that business there isn't a minority? I don't know. That's the only thing you know,
right.
I thought was
that they're putting conditions to to all these things. Gotcha. I'm hoping that won't be an issue. I think you know the percentage is low enough where it won't be. I think it won't make a difference as far as the workers are concerned. It's not going to make a difference. You mentioned it already.
No.
So I think we'll be good. So Peter, basically with what they're doing, the rezoning and everything. When do you think when could they actually start, you know, fixing? They got to do the pollution thing first.
Yeah.
When do you think they'll break ground?
Well, the article I read did not give a date, but I did see, I think One World, One Goal was thrown out October. I don't know if that's confirmed. I haven't seen that. I read the Miami Herald article. I didn't see any date in particular, but they did say they're really close to being able to break ground. So I think that what One World, One Goal said, that October thing, could be accurate. I think they're going to want to break ground as soon as they get that last vote pushed through. Once that's approved, I think they're going to start breaking ground. And if I'm not wrong,
next day,
yeah, exactly,
they'll start breaking ground.
Right. Well, as soon as they can put an event together, right? Because they're going to want to have all the camera crews out there. They're going to want to have Beckham out there with his pink shovel. You know, they're going to. Or all their pink hard hats. As soon as they can put on an event, that's how soon they'll get it in there. But
well, like you know what happened at Lockhart, you know, Dry Pink Stadium now.
Yeah.
We covered it. We're also going to cover that. You know, I think that was a big thing that made our channel grow because Peter did a hell of a job with the construction videos. I'm actually closer, so. Well, there's going to be sometimes when Peter comes down because he's becoming an expert. So, you know, but I think I'll probably be doing most of the filming for a while.
Expert. If you remember, I think one of the reasons people liked our construction videos is because it was 100% not an expert. It was some videos were literally hey, look, there's a pile of dirt there. Last week, it was over here. This week, it's over there. Oh,
look, they're laying pipe.
Look, there's some pipe on there.
It says Lockhart on it.
It says Lockhart on the pipe. That was a lot of it, but people liked it, and I think they liked the fact that it was totally a layman type of thing. And then anybody with construction knowledge filled in the gaps in the comments, and I loved it. That was great. I think it was fun, and it was also fun because the people around the stadium, they came to know me because I was walking around the stadium every weekend, rain or shine, I was there. And, they got to know me. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah. So, yes, there's that Peter guy again.
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably thought you were stalking him or something.
Like when I met Paul McDonough, and, I introduced myself, and he's like, I know who you are. And he, and he's like, do you want a tour? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, turn off the camera and you can have a tour. Done. But yes, Ed is now. You're gonna have to be the one that they get to know and point out the dirt. And I will make. I'll try to be down there maybe once a month or something like that. But you'll be closer, so you would be the one that would do it.
I'll do the weekly videos. Yeah. But and good thing it's close to my job too. So
right.
It's going to be easy for me to swing by.
So there were some conversations also about this land that they, at one point they wanted to make one parking garage. And so they were forced into splitting those into 2 parking garages. And I got to say, I was in a parking garage today at Hollywood Beach. I hate parking garages.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out of Lockhart Stadium, Drive Pink Stadium, can be a hassle. It took me an hour to get out after the Barcelona game. Sold out stadium. Parking garage is going to be worse. Parking garage is going to be painful to get out of. Thankfully, they are at least going to have 2, because if they had 1, imagine everybody trying to get out of just 2 exits. 2 or 3 exits. That's all that they have. Maybe they have on 2 sides. Maybe they have north side and a south side exit. Two cars going in and out of both exits. So maybe you got 4 people exiting out at a time. That's it. Right. Slow as molasses. It's going to be painful, but at least it'll be a little bit better that there's 2 garages. But garages, I understand why they have to do it, but garages suck. So it's going to make all the more reason to post game to go and just chill out and tailgate somewhere.
Right. So that's going to be interesting. And will people be able to tailgate inside the parking garages? I mean, how's that going to work?
I don't know. But hopefully there will be some sort of sports bar or, I said this to you, Ed, when we were walking out of Drive Pink, is that area that is the fan zone in front of Drive Pink. And they're having the party after the game in the Northwest Club.
Mm-hmm.
They should do something similar in the fan zone. Have a post-game party in the fan zone. You could play your music. You have your DJ out there. You could sell some beer, what have you. They're selling, they're selling alcohol before the game. So why can't they sell it after the game and have people post-game party right there, and Inter Miami's making money off of it. I think it's smart, and they should do something along those lines then in Miami. They're going to have a big courtyard, I'm sure. And if they can't do that, at least they better have some sports bars. One World, One Goal is offering a party at her house. Everybody goes to One World, One Goal's house for the post-game parties. Esteban saying solution, underground garage. I don't know why you're saying that. You can't go underground in Florida. But
yeah, you're going to hit water.
You're going to hit water. Yeah, that's kind of hard.
And on the roof of those parking garages, there's supposed to be fields.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be kind of cool.
Bruno says he likes the garage for the Marlins, but nobody goes to the Marlins game, so it's probably easy to go in and out of. Actually, Ed, I'm going to go to a Marlins game on Wednesday.
Well, look at that.
Yeah, because my Brazilian niece is here, and she wants to do all things American. And what's more American than baseball?
Nothing better than baseball, that's right? For sure.
I can't say, oh, let's go take her to Inter Miami game because, I mean, she can go see Atletico Paranense in her city. That's not
right.
Whatever. But yeah, I'm going to go see, was it Marlins versus Cincinnati Reds, I think. I haven't bought the tickets yet, but I'm going to go buy the tickets tonight. And we're going to go see that.
I'm sure it's not going to be a problem, man, because like nobody goes to watch baseball anyway.
No,
yeah, so
no, I don't
so
have
you're good.
I don't have to get them tonight. I could get them on Wednesday morning and be fine.
Shouldn't be a problem.
All right, everybody. I think that about wraps it up. So, we talked about the defense. We need help there. We talked about Higuain being on fire. Does Higuain start in San Jose or does he come off the bench? Lots of things that could be interesting that we may see. News coming out hopefully soon on the voting of the Miami Freedom Park. Some people are excited about the stadium. I say some people excited about the stadium in Miami because I really kind of like it where it is. In Fort Lauderdale, I'm more of a fan of it there. Just saying, selfish reasons.
Because you live right there. But I'm okay because I don't have to drive all the way up there.
I know. Somebody's always got to drive, and I'm okay. Right. I'll drive. I don't care. I'll drive. But anyways, lots of fun things coming up to talk about, and 2 games this week. Busy week for Inter Miami playing San Jose and then Montreal. So San Jose on Wednesday and then Saturday Montreal. So busy week. Lots of fun things that we can talk about next week. And that about wraps it up, Ed. What do we like to tell everybody?
Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your dog, guys, let's make this a family thing, get together with us every Sunday. Don't forget, we're going to have that video during the week. We're going to do our food review. And tomorrow, we're going to do the Nerd Show. Well, Peter might not be able to do it, but I will do the Nerd Show. And we've got some interesting stuff, lined up for you guys. A lot of stuff happening in the comic book world. So looking forward to that. Hopefully Peter could make it because I like talking nerd stuff with him. He knows the Star Wars stuff.
We'll see. Like I said, I have a family member in town from Brazil, so this week's a little tough, but I am going to try. So if we do what we're planning on doing early, then I will be here for
9
the show.
p.m. Remember, it's 9 p.m.
Luckily, the show is late, and that actually could help me. So we'll see. Well, I'm going to try to make the show tomorrow, but if not, make sure you guys join Ed because he's going to need someone to talk to. So he's going to need you guys in the chat. All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week. Oops, wrong button.
See ya.